Good evening, folks. This is Mike. Welcome back to my channel. It's time for another movie log. So let me get started here. Try not to take too much of your time. I want to start off with showing you the latest issue of Scary Monsters magazine that just came in the mail yesterday. This is one of their Monster Memories editions. Look at that artwork. Is that cool or what? I believe that is Ingrid Pitt. Certainly looks like her. Here's the artwork on the back. I love this magazine. So happy to get this every month. All right, so let's start off with some of the movies I've been watching lately. I'd like to start off with two films from last year, 2021, that I picked up sort of impulse buys at Barnes & Noble when I was there about a month ago. Starting off with Last Night in Soho. This is an English film that I heard a lot of good things about. I was hearing it described as kind of a neo-noir and said that it had a lot to do with the 1960s and fantasy and all this. So I was very excited to pick this up, and I have very mixed feelings about it. Here's the back of it. So to give you the basics of the plot, I'll just read what it says on the back here. In acclaimed director Edgar Wright's psychological thriller, Eloise, played by Thomasin McKenzie, an aspiring fashion designer, is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer, Sandy, played by Anna Taylor-Joy. But the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something far darker. Okay, well, now, there are a lot of things to like about this movie. Visually, it is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know that I would call it a neo-noir, but I don't know. What do I know? Maybe it is. It has great music of the 1960s. This young girl in here, Eloise, Ellie they call her, is obsessed with the 1960s and the swinging London of the 60s. Now, she's from Cornwall, but she's getting ready to go to London to go to school, right? So she's hoping that the London she finds in the present day is going to be like the 1960s. She, at home in her room in Cornwall, she's got 60s posters and photographs all over the wall, Carnaby Street, and she has her mother's old record player with her old record collection. So she's playing all the music from that era, which I actually like. That when it started out, I was just loving this film because I'm obsessed with the 60s myself. So anyway, Ellie gets to London, finds herself very disappointed, fish out of water. London is nothing like what she was hoping it would be, and then she gets involved in this mystery. Now, I don't want to tell you too much, but the mystery story that unfolds is very well done. It's very clever, very original, and I found myself enjoying what was happening. What gives me mixed feelings about the film is that about maybe 2/3 of the way through, the director decides to make it into a bloodbath. Okay, now, I don't want to give away too many things, but I got the impression that this director, and I don't know anything else about Edgar Wright, I haven't seen any of his films. I guess he did a film called Baby Driver, which is quite popular. I got the feeling that he didn't know how to tell this story and make it effective without overusing violence. And to me, that's exactly what he did. I think that the mystery itself could have been much more fascinating and memorable if he had told it in a less visceral fashion. So that's my big complaint about this movie. I think a lot of people will like this, so I'm not going to say, I don't see this as terrible, because I really think that a lot of you out there will enjoy this film. It has a lot of good things going for it, and so those are my impressions of it. So anyway, next up is another English film. This is Spencer. And does that look like Princess Diana to you? It's supposed to. Kristen Stewart is playing the Princess of Wales at a certain weekend. Well, it's Christmas weekend of 1992 when she's spending the Christmas holiday with the royal family. And she's going through a lot of turmoil. It was a very bad year in her marriage and in her life. So that's what this film is about. It is in no way meant to be a biography of Princess Diana. It is a highly stylized vision or impression of what she was feeling and what she was going through during this particular weekend of her life. Okay, so it's a very personal film She is the total focus of the movie, even though you see other people appearing in scenes with her. Someone is playing Prince Charles, someone is playing the Queen, etc., etc. I have mixed feelings about this movie. I don't think that Kristen Stewart did a very good job. I know she was trying desperately to do an imitation of Diana, and she got the British accent down very well, even though much of the time it was difficult to understand what she was saying. She was speaking so fast and in this breathy voice, which I never remember hearing from Princess Diana. And anyway, let me read on the back of this package to show you exactly what's going on. The marriage of Princess Diana and Prince Charles, who is played by Jack Farthing, don't know him, has long since grown cold. Though rumors of affairs and a divorce abound, peace is ordained for the Christmas festivities at the Queen's Sandringham estate. There's eating and drinking, shooting and hunting. Diana knows the game, but this year things will be profoundly different. Spencer is an imagining of what might have happened during those few fateful days. So, again, I think a lot of people will like this. It has many good things in it. One thing I do like about the way they did this, they showed the royal family. For example, at formal dinners, they showed the royal family sitting around the table looking like calcified, frozen statues, as if they were monuments to another time, another place. And here comes Diana rushing in, and she's trying to fit into this atmosphere, and she's just like a fish out of water. So that was kind of interesting the way they did it. The director is a guy named Pablo Larraín, who also directed the movie Jackie a few years ago, all about Jacqueline Kennedy, Natalie Portman playing Jacqueline Kennedy in the aftermath of the assassination of JFK. Another film I have very mixed feelings about, but it was also done as a stylized impression of Jackie rather than a biography. And it was also a very popular film. I think Natalie Portman, did she get the Academy Award? I think she did. I seem to remember that she did. Um, anyway. Oh, one final thing I wanted to mention about Last Night in Soho, I forgot to say, one of the interesting things about this, because it has to do with the 1960s, it has three iconic English actors from that decade who have important parts in the film. One is Rita Tushingham, who plays Ellie's mother, so we get to see her early in the film. Then we have Terence Stamp and Diana Rigg. So that is another thing that I like about this movie. And so, again, both of these films, this is nominated for Best Actress, Kristen Stewart. I knew when I saw this she would be nominated for Best Actress, so I was not surprised. And even though I don't think she was that good, but again, what do I know? So now on to another film that I picked up recently from Sinister Cinema. This is a Poverty Row horror film called Bluebeard from 1944, starring John Carradine, directed by Edgar G. Ulmer, who is one of my favorite directors. He did Detour, the classic film noir. Very talented guy. And I had never seen this before, and I don't believe this is available on any good remastered commercial DVD or Blu-ray, at least not yet. And so I picked it up from Sinister Cinema. Fairly good print, even though the sound is not terrific. I had heard a lot of good things about this from different critics and books that have read. I was looking forward to it. I was very disappointed. So another downer. I thought that John Carradine was very good. He plays a serial killer in Paris. Supposedly, it's loosely based on a true character, and has some good atmosphere. But overall, I was very disappointed. And I one of the things one of my sources for hearing about this film is this terrific book by Tom Weaver, Poverty Row Horrors, which talks about all the horror-themed films that came out of Monogram Studios and PRC back in the 1940s. Okay, and one of the films he talks about is Bluebeard. Let me read very quickly some of what he said. It reflects how I felt about it when I saw it. There's no shortage of kudos for Bluebeard in film history books, and auteur-minded critics are lavish in their praise. It's always been a film that only audiences have had a tough time warming up to. Leo Erdodi's wall-to-wall music, that's the composer, Leo Erdodi, who did a lot of music for the PRC films. He did the music for Detour also. His wall-to-wall music, classically based, calls constant attention to itself, sometimes even drowning out the dialogue. Let's see. The script is talky. The marionette sequences uncomfortably long, and the marionette sequences. The serial killer played by John Carradine. He is actually in his life. He is a puppeteer, very famous and very well known. So they have a lot of that stuff going on in the film. Um, anyway, it just talks about how it's just not a pleasurable film to watch, and that's exactly how I felt. The music was overwhelming, and I kept thinking, I wish they would stop playing the music. I know a lot of films play music all throughout. That's very common in Poverty Row films. I think they're trying to make up for the lack of action and beautiful visuals by just playing a lot of music. And in this one, I feel like they overdid it. So anyway, that's my feeling about Bluebeard. I'd like to know if anybody else have seen this. Let me know what you think. Another film I saw, this is from Arrow Video. Or is it from Arrow Video? Hang on, Mike. Yes, it is. Arrow Video. Man of a Thousand Faces. From the middle 1950s. This is the biography. This is an actual biography of Lon Chaney, the actor, great actor Lon Chaney. The Man of a Thousand Faces. And stars James Cagney playing Lon Chaney, who does a fantastic job. We also have Dorothy Malone playing his first wife, and Jane Greer playing his second wife. A very good biography, extremely great physical and emotional performance by James Cagney, who was 58 years old when he played this, much too old to be playing the younger Lon Chaney. But very well done. Now, I've never read a biography of Lon Chaney and the true facts of his life. I listened to the audio commentary by Tim Lucas, a very, very intelligent guy who knows a lot of stuff about classic films, and he makes it plain that a lot of this stuff is either stretched out of proportion. Some of the facts are sort of twisted around to make them more dramatic, and so you have to take a lot of these things, most of these Hollywood biopics, with a grain of salt. But I think a lot of people would really enjoy this, just for the fact that it's all about Lon Chaney, who was such a great genre hero, and I don't know, Arrow Video does such a great job with all their products, so very, very much worth seeing. Um, Now we'll get to some of the weird stuff. This is a movie I picked up from Kino Lorber recently, or is it? Yeah, it is Kino Lorber. Um, Secret Ceremony from 1968. Elizabeth Taylor, Mia Farrow, Robert Mitchum, directed by Joseph Losey, and I had never seen this before. I had seen a small part of it on television back in the 1970s. It is just weirder than weird, but absolutely worth seeing. Um, Elizabeth Taylor, another English film. Elizabeth Taylor plays a woman who, from the scenes early in the film, she appears to be a prostitute or a call girl. And when she's taking a bus ride in London, there's a young woman on the bus who sees her and just fixates on her. This young woman is played by Mia Farrow. She sees this woman as sort of the reincarnation of her deceased mother. And anyway, so she attaches herself to this older woman, and the older woman, not knowing anything about this young girl or what she wants, she lets it happen because she herself lost a daughter at a very young age. She had a daughter who I believe was 10 years old when she drowned, and she's never gotten over it. So she sees her daughter, and the young woman sees her mother. So they actually go back to the young woman's home, this beautiful palatial house in London, very beautiful, strange house, and they start living out this very strange relationship. And into the middle of that relationship comes Robert Mitchum, who happens to be the young woman's stepfather. And it gets very complicated and a little bit nasty, but nothing profane. It's just that it's a very creepy story. It's one of these late '60s movies that is going to make you more depressed when it's over than you were when you started. But I would recommend this. It's a very interesting film, and good acting by all of these people, especially Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow during this period, after she did Rosemary's Baby, she was just a very weird individual. I think there's something about her. There's just super, super strange. And she was perfect for stuff like this. So absolutely recommend it, okay? And finally, I want to say that I found out a couple of days ago that Severin Films, another great company, is just about to release a Blu-ray version of Out of the Blue, which is a Dennis Hopper film that has not been widely available. I found this copy on eBay about a year ago, and I'm very happy to have it. But this has no extra features, doesn't even have scene selection. This is a film Dennis Hopper directed and stars in this film, along with Sharon Farrell, who plays his wife, and an actress named Linda Manz, who plays their daughter. And it really is Linda Mann's film. She of course is the young actress who was in Days of Heaven, became very famous for that one film. Didn't do a lot of films after that, but this is a good example of her personality and her uniqueness. And anyway, the Blu-ray that's coming out, which I ordered last night, pre-ordered, it's coming out sometime in March. It has over 15 hours of extra features, and including a special documentary about Linda Manz. Has 3 commentaries, one of which features Dennis Hopper, so it must have been recorded quite a long time ago, and all sorts of things. 2-disc set, and interviews with different actors and people who knew Dennis Hopper or worked with him, one of whom was Ethan Hawke. When I saw Ethan Hawke involved, I thought, I'm in. Anyway, this is a very good film, very powerful and strange film, and not easy to watch in many places, especially at the end. But I'm very happy about a Blu-ray coming out. So that's my movie log. Sorry to keep you so long, but let me know what you think. And as always, comments are welcome.